Last night, my friend and friend of the channel, Bryson Stott, hit a baseball to outer space, and you rarely see a crowd go that crazy. Philly is just different. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., he cost his team with one of the worst timed pickoffs I've seen in quite some time, and it was a rough day for Toronto fans, and the Diamondbacks, they might actually be the sneaky team to beat in these 2023 playoffs. Just a reminder, everyone, MLB Recap is presented by SeatGeek. If you're going to any playoff games or football games anytime soon, save yourself 20 bucks off using code Fuzzy. All right, game number one from yesterday, the Rangers at the Rays in front of a whopping 20,000 fans. Why are they building a new stadium in St. Petersburg when they never go to games anyways? Adolis, he saw his ranking in that top 50 players from MLB, and he took it personally. That's a no-doubter. And right after rookie Josh Young followed up that home run with an RBI three-bagger, another rookie showed up. I almost can't even put into words how insane Evan Carter has been for the Rangers. Again, he turned 21 a month ago, including the playoffs. He's hitting .307. He has 10 extra base hits and 12 RBIs in just 19 starts. He's the youngest player in Rangers franchise history to homer in the playoffs. Captains Marcus Semien and Corey Seager, they both roped RBI doubles, so it's 7-0, and you can't give Nathan Eovaldi a lead because he turns into a different pitcher when he's winning. He holds opponents to a 191 batting average when he's ahead and a 255 batting average when he's losing. He struck out 8 hitters. He did not walk a single member of the Rays. He and Monty, they combined for nearly 14 innings, allowing just 1 run in these playoffs. Texas looks absolutely dialed in, and they complete the sweep of the Rays, and this screenshot from the 7th inning all but summed up the 2023 playoffs for Tampa Bay. By the way, after we recap all of these games, I'm going to talk about the 2024 free agents for all of the teams that lost so we can see what they have to get better at in 2024. Toronto is one of those teams that could lose a ton of free agents that produced at a high level in 2023. Can they avoid getting swept? It's not going to be easy because they're facing Sonny Gray, who proceeded to not allow any runs to score. Toronto, though, they took out Jose Barrios while he was dealing. Shades of Kevin Cash taking out Blake Snell a few playoffs ago. John Schneider or Schreiber, whatever his last name is, he was hoping that Yusei could get the lefty Kepler out, but instead he walked Kepler, and then there was a pinch hitter, Donovan Solano. He walked that guy as well, and at that point you're screwed because Carlos Correa, he's now hitting almost 500 versus Yusei in his career. He was only hitting 250 versus Barrios. Barrios, he had his nastiest stuff of the season. His velocity was up on every single pitch, so he was quite literally pitching with extra energy. That's overthinking at its finest, and sometimes analytics are not your friend. Barrios, he was dealing, facing his former team, so he had that extra rage in him, and that's a fat yikes from me. I mean, it's not like Yusei gave up $1 billion, but those 2 runs were all that Sonny Gray and friends needed. Gray, he went 5 shutout with 6 strikeouts, and that final out in the 5th came on a pickoff via Vladdy. Correa, he signaled it by touching his cap, and then I think the dugout relayed it to the catcher, and then obviously Sonny Gray got the sign. 2 ducks were on a pond for Bo Bichette, and of course, the final out is made on a pickoff. Johan Duran, he converted his 2nd consecutive save. He got all outs via the punch out in the 9th inning, and Minnesota, they move on. That is their first playoff series win since 2002. I was 6 years old. Now, remember, Toronto is going to lose a bunch of players in free agency, so stick around so we can review all of the free agents from all the losing teams. Arizona is kind of the opposite of the Blue Jays because they haven't spent a ton of money just yet, and they're really relying on their young guys. After Milwaukee scored 2 off of Zach Gallen. Gallen locked all the way in, and Freddie Peralta, he unfortunately unraveled. A solo home run from Alek Thomas put the Diamondbacks on the board, and then Ketel Marte, he's proving why he's so underrated. That 2-run single scored Perdomo and Carroll, and Arizona, they kept stacking on their lead. A wild pitch from Uribe allows another run to score, and then Lourdes with a hit straight from MLB The Show that would have broken my control. It would have been sent across the room. The Snakes, they sent Gallen out for the 6th inning, and he got it done. Paul Sewald, this dude has had an iron arm ever since his days with the Mariners. It seems like he's pitching every single day. So the Diamondbacks do in fact get swept by the Brewers, and in my opinion, even if they had Brandon Woodruff, they still would have lost. Milwaukee is set to lose nearly 10 players in free agency. Oh my goodness, don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about the Phillies game and then the free agents right after. Aaron Nola and the Phillies wanted to make light work of the Marlins, and they basically made sushi out of Miami. Now, I don't know if you put Marlin in sushi or if there's even Marlin sushi, but you know what I'm trying to say. Schwarber, he doubled in Christian Pache, and Trey Turner, he knocked in Kyle Schwarber after knocking off Braxton Garrett's glove. JT Realmuto, he pummeled the baseball deep into the left field stands, and my friend and Vegas boy Bryson Stott hit the power swing, a lefty grand slam on the first pitch. That was right after the crowd was singing his walk-up song, a top 10 sports moment in my opinion. Obviously, I'm biased. What do you mean you're biased, Fuzzy? There you go. That bat slam is going to go right up there with Rhys Hoskins. And after the game, Bryson said his biggest change why he's doing better against lefties is he started eating lefty, texting lefty. He wanted to firm up his left side, and it's clearly working. Aaron Nola turned in perhaps the best start of his 2023 season. 7 shutout, only 3 base hits allowed. He and Zach Wheeler, man, they're going to be a problem like they always are in the playoffs. This Phillies and Braves series is going to be an all-timer. I might do some live streams because I can't miss a single pitch of that series. So before we do today's Immaculate Grid, let's talk about the free agents on all of the losing teams and see how they can get better or if they're just straight up going to get worse. I feel like the Marlins are the easiest team to recap of the teams that lost yesterday. So 4 teams lost. We're going to talk about them all right now. But the Marlins, they're losing Gene Segura. In fact, they've already lost him because I don't think he's not even on the team, I don't think. Joey Wendell, he's 34 years old and getting worse. Yuli Gurriel is 40. He had a negative F4 on the season. Matt Moore, in my opinion, I feel like Matt Moore is the one guy that could come back because Miami, they love their lefties like Luzardo, Puck, Andrew Nardi, Tanner Scott. Matt Moore is probably going to come back, and then David Robertson, he forgot how to throw baseballs with Miami, so he's probably not going to come back, in my opinion. I think they're going to stick with Tanner Scott as their closer because he's really good. Now, the one guy you do have to keep in mind, Josh Bell, he has a team option for 2024, and the way that he played in the second half, he might actually risk it and become a free agent, so keep that in mind. While the Toronto Blue Jays have a ton of good talent hitting free agency in 2024, Matt Chapman, he started off as the best player in baseball and then really just fell off a cliff. You can see in the first half of 2023, Matt Chapman, he had 12 home runs and 28 doubles, and then in the second half, he hit 205 with only 5 home runs, 11 doubles. He was absolutely terrible in the second half, so he just cost himself a ton of money. Even at 36 years old, Brandon Belt has been one of the best power-hitting lefties since 2020. His OPS plus is upwards of 130, so he's going to get a lot of money. Kevin Kiermaier, a bounce-back season. Jordan Hicks, Hungjin Ryu. I don't really care about Jay Jackson or Anthony Bass, but Ryu and Hicks, they might leave as well. When it comes to the Tampa Bay Rays, it seems like relief pitchers are the only guys they have not locked down aside from Francisco Mejia. I still believe that Francisco Mejia could be a decent big league player, but he's all but been replaced by Rene Pinto. So Erasmo Ramirez, Jake Diekman, he was pretty good this year, at least in my opinion. I mean, down the stretch, he was great. Chris Davinsky, he used to be good with the Astros, and then Robert Stevenson. Robert Stevenson was pretty good, so hopefully they bring him back. But then again, he earned himself a lot of money, and the Rays don't give out a lot of money. And then, like I mentioned, the Brewers are set to lose almost 10 players in free agency. We'll start with maybe the most useless player in baseball over the last few seasons, Jesse Winker. He has been completely awful. Look at his stats. In 2022 for the Mariners, Jesse Winker hit .219 with a 0.4 WAR, and then he got even worse after being traded to the Brewers. He hit .199 with a 65 WRC plus and a negative 0.8 F WAR. Luke Voigt never really got a chance. Darren Ruff, he has not been the same ever since he got traded from the Giants to the Mets. Josh Donaldson, he was decent. Julio Teheran, he was pretty good down the stretch, I won't lie. Brian Anderson, he's already DFA'd. Colin Ray stinks in my opinion. Victor Caratini, Carlos Santana. I don't think any of these players are going to come back. I feel like the Brewers and the Rays are kind of in similar situations where they have a good nucleus of players, but they just have to stay healthy. And because their offense didn't show up in the playoffs, maybe they go out and add to it. That could definitely happen. By the way, just in case you're curious of the top free agents going into 2024, obviously Ohtani, he's going to be leaving the pack. Sonny Gray, Montgomery, Blake Snell, Aaron Nola, Matt Chapman, Jamier Candelario, Kyle Gibson, Clayton Kershaw, Brandon Belt. Like, there's a lot of good players. I love Mitch Garver. JD Martinez just made himself a lot of money with his 30 home run campaign, 100 RBIs. There's quite a few players, but really the only superstar player, in my opinion, is Ohtani. So now that we got all of that stuff out the way, today's Immaculate Grid, we have the Royals and the A's. Billy Butler, this one is super easy. I think Joakim Soria, that could have been an option as well. I probably should have gone with him because I feel like that would have been less than 19%. A 30 stolen base season for the A's. Obviously, we have Ricky, but I'm going to go with one of my favorite names, if not my favorite name in baseball history, Coco Crisp. We have 200 base hits for the A's. An MLB The Show legend. This one's super easy. 24%. You guys might be cheating. The Royals and the Cubs. Why did the Cubs trade this man? Nelson Velasquez had like almost 20 home runs as a Royal this year, even though he played in a handful of games. I got to type out his full name because that's how not known he is. 1%. 30 stolen bases for the Cubs. I have absolutely no idea. We'll have to come back to that one. 200 base hits for the Cubs. We have Starlin Castro. I don't even think that he's in baseball anymore. I thought that he was on his way to 2,500 base hits or something like that. Royals and the Orioles, Ryan O'Hearn, one of the most underrated players of the 2023 season. A 30 stolen base season. My guy, I cannot believe how hard he fell off because Jorge Mateo was the best shortstop in baseball for the first month, and then he became the worst player in baseball for the final 4 or 5 months of the season. 200 base hits for the Orioles. I feel like Brian Roberts did that. Maybe, okay, I got maybe Adam Jones or Nick Markakis. Cal Ripken Jr. is an easy one, but I feel like I'm not going to... You know what? I think I'm going to go Cal Ripken because I would be risking it with those other guys. So 85%, good Lord. And now a 30 stolen base season for the Cubs. I'm trying to think. Seiya's pretty quick, but no way. Bellinger did not get up there. Oh, Ryan Sandberg. Did Ryan Sandberg steal 30? Another name just came to my head, Juan Pierre. I mean, that's kind of it for old-time play. I'm not going to say Juan Pierre is old or anything like that. Maybe Nico Horner. I feel like Nico had 30 stolen bases, but I want to go with an older player. I'm going to go Sandberg. Ryan Sandberg. I feel like he might be a lower one. People might forget about him. 191. That's terrible. That does it for today's MLB recap. I appreciate you guys sticking around until the end of today's video. I know they're not the longest of videos because there's not a lot of games to talk about, but I appreciate all the support. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.